Well, hey guys, Jonathan with you once again. Welcome, my friends. Welcome aboard to the daily message. I got to be on stage in a few hours. I've still got a fair bit of prep to get through, so I'm going to keep the video nice and short today. Please make sure you have subscribed. Hit the subscribe button under here. It does make a big difference. We want to see this channel grow. We want to see it reaching more people, and there are a whole bunch of links under here that you need to go and check out. If you don't have a free copy of my book, you can access it on the link here. You can book me to speak live at conferences, events, come and work with your staff, depending on where you are. I'm going to be in the UK, hopefully very soon. So to all my British friends, hello, good evening, good morning, whatever time of day you're watching. There is a whole bunch of stuff under here, and also go and check out the link to Karen's MasterClass for women. It's very, very good. I mean, I haven't attended it myself, but I hear it's very good. All right, you get what I mean. We're going to get on to the next question. Today's a really big question about a whole bunch of stuff that a particular listener is struggling with, but we're going to take the top level principles here and make them relevant for your life. So I'm going to switch now across to the question here, and I'm going to read it to you, and it says this. Jonathan, I feel stuck in many areas of my life, but the most annoying at the moment is sabotaging myself. I've decided again to try and lose some weight. I know I'll feel great when I do it, and really even 10 kilos would be wonderful, but as I start going to Weight Watchers, I'm eating silly things such as putting brown sugar onto strawberries and blueberries, eating the morning tea at work, which is most of the time yummy, and things I should not be eating. Also, I'm stuck being too fearful to go outside of my house for a walk or bike ride by myself. I live alone. Anyway, baby steps. And I'll try this weekend to go for a bike ride or walk if I can. Thanks for this opportunity to vent. First thing, you are very welcome, friends. I am here to serve. If you're all free to send me questions, emails, vent away. We are all on this journey together, this complex human journey. So do not feel you are a burden in any way if you share your thoughts, questions, feelings. Just jump on the website, jonathandoyle.co. There's a contact page. You can put stuff there, or you can leave a comment here on YouTube or Rumble, and I will get back to you. Right, where do we start? First thing, under here, there is a link to the podcast version. I always go deeper on the podcast version. So if you want to really dig into this topic that I'm going to discuss, hit that podcast version. I'll keep this one pretty short. Now, we are talking about self-sabotage. What is it? Why does it happen? Essentially, we all get bruised on the journey of life. It can be extreme trauma. It can be minor trauma. It can be bullying. It can be any number of experiences that are swimming around in our emotional, psychological, semi-conscious, subconscious world. We know that we have a massive subconscious, right? Because there are so many things that are not in our current sense of conscious focus. For example, I used to say to people on stage, remember what you were doing last Christmas Day. Can you remember where you were in the world? And everybody can remember it, right? Most people can remember it quite clearly, where they were, who they were with. And then I say to them, where was the memory before I asked you? And it's quite interesting, right? Because they weren't thinking about it. It wasn't in their consciousness until I primed them, triggered them to bring up the memory. What I'm trying to communicate here is that all of us are carrying these huge number of life experiences, beliefs, internal vows, how we think about the structure of reality itself. All of it is swimming around inside of us. Some of us have had it harder than others. And even then, whatever happens to us, it isn't so much what happens to us, of course, as the meaning and the structure that we give what actually happened, what we tell ourselves about it. So all of this is my way of saying that self-sabotage is usually some level of damaged internal narrative, so that we believe that we are not lovable, we are not worthy. And then we look for congruence. I go deep on this in the podcast. We are always looking for congruence, which means what? We are always looking for our outside reality to match up with what we say internally, right? We don't like being out of congruence. So if we have this fractured internal sense of self, then we are going to try and manifest that or, stay congruent with it in the real world. If we think we're unlovable, then is it a surprise that we find it hard to have deep, rich, intimate relationships? If we believe that we're not intelligent or creative or that we can contribute to the world, is it any wonder we struggle to find the work or the financial breakthroughs that we want, right? So this is the basis of self-sabotage. And look, trust me, it stretches from the boardroom to the broom cupboard. It really does. You can be sweeping streets, or you can be running global corporations, and you can still have this problem. You might get a little bit of success in one area of life, but you'll have problems in other areas because of this incongruence. I coached an executive once looking after a multi-billion-dollar economy, sector of the economy, where they were looking after a big peak body. And they were massively struggling with this. Huge problems of self-sabotage and imposter syndrome. Similar thing. I don't belong here. I don't deserve this. And then we try to undermine it. Why? Because we're going back to that congruence problem. So what do we do? 2 quick things. You can take the therapeutic path. If there's trauma or pain, you can definitely take the therapeutic path. The other option is to get really conscious and very deliberate about those internal beliefs, by which I mean, for me, journaling. I do a lot of reading. I read a lot on PTSD, trauma, recovery, all that sort of stuff, because I just tend to grow through cognition. I tend to just find a path of learning and then follow it, and that helps me. So how do you fix self-sabotage? You reconstruct that internal narrative. It's a spiritual journey too. I know many of my listeners are people of faith, so a lot of times there can be a need for deep spiritual healing. We heal from physical wounds, right? But emotional, spiritual wounds are much deeper, and they require a different approach. So it could be therapy, or it could just be a deliberate focus on growth and development and trying to improve and get better in these key areas. What else did I write on my notes here? When it comes to sabotaging behaviours, so this lady's talking about she wants to lose weight, so she goes for a semi-healthy option, strawberries, blueberries, and then coats them in sugar, right? We want comfort. We want to undermine what it is we say that we want. I talk about things called structural intercepts. Structural intercepts are basically, they come from the awareness that you are going to try and sabotage yourself. So you create structures that intercept the problem, structural intercepts. So it just means that if there's a morning tea on at work, you just be somewhere else. Or before you walk in, you go and drink a litre of water so that you don't feel like eating anything, right? You just got to be creative, intelligent, and accepting. Just go, you know what? I'm probably going to sabotage myself. Tell yourself the truth. Why lie to yourself? Why pretend that, you're going to do the right thing when you know you're not? Just go, I'm probably going to go in there and overeat. Therefore, I'm just going to stop. Yeah, I'll give you an example. I train a lot, right? Like I'm always training in the gym, that sort of stuff. My son gets into this particular breakfast cereal, Nutri-Grain. It's amazing. You could eat that stuff till you're in a coma. So sometimes I'd be training heaps, and I'd eat really healthy, and I'd go, I'm still a bit hungry. And then I'd go, I need carbs. So I need some healthy carbs. I'd go and eat a bowl. Trust me, friends, they have the greatest food psychology people on the planet making this stuff. And it's like your brain goes, ooh, that was one delicious bowl of Nutri-Grain. Maybe I should have 2. And then the self-sabotage kicks in. You're like, yeah, I'm an athlete. I'm training all the time. And I keep going. And sometimes I just eat too much and I'll be like, what did I do? And then I realized, Jonathan, this is a structural intercept, all right? Just don't. And I set up a bunch of parameters where that was just gone. I just decided, I know that I do this. I know that I do it in this context. Therefore, I set up a different interrupt, so I didn't do it. So get really clear on those structural intercepts. What else? Look, when it comes to the exercise piece or the dieting piece, well, let's talk about the exercise piece. It's pretty straightforward. A lot of people struggle because it's a motivation question, right? So here in Australia at the moment, we are having the worst weather ever. It's like been cold and raining for months. It is a disaster. This weekend's going to be apparently torrential. So, for years, I'd jump up in the mornings, go and train, feel great. It's really hard. So I've been using the Zwift platform with an internal stationary training bike with Bluetooth, all this crazy stuff I use. And then I race. There's a racing league in it where you're racing people all over the world. So races start at all these key times. And what I find is, if I just jumped on the bike and just pedaled myself, I wouldn't do much. But when I'm racing, I train at a pretty high level. So I use the structure. I create a structure. I leverage it that helps me to get the result that I want. So when it comes to this health and fitness piece, I really think that if you want to get better, use structure, use leverage, which is, get a trainer, join a gym, start a sport, meet people at, 9, 12 a.m. to walk 5 kilometers together, and you all agree on it so that you have this structure that forces you to do it. I just think for many, many people, when it comes to health, exercise, fitness, and growth, if it's left purely to willpower, it becomes problematic because it's contingent upon how you're feeling, on the weather, all these different factors. So create structure. All right, summary. Go and check out the podcast because that's much deeper. I go a lot deeper into this. You'll find it useful. But I want to say self-sabotage is a form of self-rejection. It's driven by trauma and pain, and we all have it. It's just a question of the degree. And then it's the resilience piece. That's what I'm speaking about on stage today. It's not just what happens to us. It's how we internalize it, the meaning that we apply to it. It's whether you see yourself as a victim or a survivor, that kind of stuff, right? So it's that crucial ability to reframe what happens. And if we haven't done that, which is, I'm not blaming anybody, it's not our fault, what tends to happen is we have these behaviors in life that undermine what it is that we really want. So we either get therapy and we get or even just a good friend, even just start to talk to somebody about the truth, what you're really thinking about yourself and feeling about yourself, or journaling it. And more recently, I've been thinking, you got to get on your own team, right? I used to kind of think that somebody would come to the rescue and everybody would fix stuff, but I'm learning that really what matters is we got to show up. We got to get on our own team. We got to stand up for ourselves and become our own champions. And, this life is short. We need to just not do dumb stuff that wrecks our own lives. We need to identify what's not working, identify the incorrect, negative, destructive beliefs, and move in an opposite direction. But you can't do it if you're not conscious of it. All right, I got to stop. I'll just go down the rabbit hole. Listen, God bless you. You're not designed for a mediocre life. You're not designed for sabotage. You're designed for growth, for blessing, for contribution, for breakthrough, for overcoming, for doing cool stuff with your life, all right? So subscribe, go and check out those links, book me to speak live, check out the masterclass. I'd love if you could share this with people, but God bless you. Let's do this. Let's get conscious. Let's get better. My name's Jonathan Doyle. This is the Daily Message. You and I are going to talk again tomorrow.